Hare Krishna, welcome to 10-minute Bhagavad Gita study. This is our second part. We're going to do about 50 of them. So go get your Bhagavad Gita. This is an open book study where we're going to go through about 50 verses and really have a nice, good beginner's tour of the whole Bhagavad Gita. So if I go too fast, please just pause the video, rewind. It's a study, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do for every one of these is we're going to go to page 1 of the introduction, and we're going to chant this introductory mantra to the spiritual master, and just this one. So let's start. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Okay, so now let us start. Today, we are going to blaze through maybe about 30 verses. And the reason why we're doing that is the very first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is mostly setting the scene. After Arjuna kind of freaks out and decides that he doesn't want to fight the battle, then we're going to get into individual verses throughout the rest of the Bhagavad Gita. So let me open up the summary of all the verses in English, and you can follow along with me in your book. Here we go, just like this. Again, as I've mentioned in the past, this is a one-time through. So if I make a bunch of mistakes, I'm just going to correct myself. I'm not going to do any edits. And we're going to try to get this done in 10 minutes. So yesterday, or not yesterday, but the last first course that we did, we studied this first verse. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? And if you remember, Dhritarashtra is blind. So Sanjaya, his seer, is seeing the battle, seeing everything going on. He'll also narrate the Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra. He's a mystic that can see things in different locations. So Sanjaya, our narrator, says, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. So Duryodhana was panicked. He saw that the Pandava army was massive and was really intimidating. He went to his teacher, Duryodhana, and explains, which I'm not going to get into because there's a lot of names and stuff and it's not important to our study really, all the different warriors on the other side and how they're all set up and who they are, really to try to impress upon his guru, Drona Acharya, who is also the guru of the Pandavas. And so he's trying to really encourage him, like, look, this is going to be a rough fight. So then he talks about his side. This is Duryodhana, the one who is going to be the heir of the kingdom if his side of the battle wins. Again, there's two battles. Duryodhana's side, which is the Kurus. Dhritarashtra is his father, who is being narrated the Bhagavad Gita, and the Pandava side, which is Arjuna, our hero of the Bhagavad Gita. He's a brother of the 5 Pandavas, where Yudhisthira would be the king if they win. So then Duryodhana says, but for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. And if I wasn't clear, this is chapter 1, text 7. And then he goes through and talks about everybody on his side. Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwatam, Vikarna, and such. And Bhishma Dev, who is the grandfather of both sides, is on Duryodhana's side as like the chief general. That will come to play in a few verses from here. And so then he says here, Duryodhana says in chapter 10, text 1, I'm sorry, chapter 1, text 10, our strength is immeasurable and we're perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, Arjuna's brother, is limited. And the reason why is Bhishma has a benediction that he will only die at his will. So there's no way to actually kill this general unless he chooses to do so. That story will not play out in the Gita, though. This is part of the Mahabharata. And so then, as we go through, Bhishma Dev, the grandfather, Duryodhana's side, general of Duryodhana's side, this verse says, then Bhishma, the great valiant grandshire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters on both sides, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. So on Duryodhana's side, they're faced off, and now they're blowing their conch shells, they're banging their drums, they're smashing their things, they're ready to go at them. Okay? So then on the other side, which is now Arjuna's side, on the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. So Arjuna is one of the 5 Pandava brothers, very reluctant to fight this war. He knows that the other side has got his friends and family and his grandfather. He asked Krishna to help fight on his side, but Krishna did not want to fight. Krishna tried to broker peace and it didn't work. So Krishna said, the only thing I'll do is I'll drive your chariot. So Arjuna is sitting on his chariot. Krishna is the chariot driver, and they are blowing their horn, their conch shells now. Conch shell is a beautiful white shell that makes a very loud sound if you know how to blow it correctly. So then, text 15, Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta. And Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pundra. And so then all the others blew their conch shells. It was very loud. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra, which is Duryodhana's side, because Arjuna's side was really loud and really tumultuous, and they thought, oh, this is not great. So now they're just about to go at it. And this verse, text 20, says, at that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these following words. So he's got his arrows, he's about ready to roll. They blew the conch shells. It's time to get it on. And Arjuna says, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the 2 armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. So Arjuna, again, really not sure about this. He doesn't really want to do this. And then he says, let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded Dhritarashtra. He just can't even believe that this fight is about to go on. Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of both armies. So he decided, before I start shooting arrows, just bring my chariot right between the 2. I just want to see what's going on. So now they're right in the middle of the 2 massive armies on the Battle of Kurukshetra. And then, in the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, O Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. So Krishna knew that when Arjuna saw specifically Bhishma, his grandfather, who raised him as a baby, he raised him, Arjuna was going to fall apart. So there, we're now chapter 1, text 26. There, Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties, his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna said, text 28, "My dear king, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end, and my bow, Gandiva, is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Now I'm unable to stand here any longer. I'm forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only cause of misfortune, O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. Now I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I see, my dear Krishna, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness." Okay, so I'm going to stop here. And the next one, we're going to get into Arjuna's arguments of why he doesn't want to fight. And those arguments are very important. It gives a perspective of the culture, the Vedic culture that they follow, what his intentions are of quitting the battle, and then Krishna's arguments. And so probably the next class, we're going to do also this kind of summary. And then after that, which would be class number 4, we're going to go verse by verse like that. Okay, so I hope this is helpful, and stay tuned for the next one. Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Gita ki jai.